Yesterday marked 18 years since Nelson Mandela handed over the Webb Ellis Trophy to Francois Pena in the final of the 1995 Rugby World Cup. This past weekend, a few future Springboks were in action out in Paarl as Paarl Gymnasium hosted the Cape Schools Rugby Week. It was time for the big one, with Paarl Gim taking on Grey High School of Port Elizabeth. Both teams were expecting nothing less than a battle royale out on Jan Kriel Field. The hosts came out of the blocks running and put Grey on the back foot immediately with a converted Waldo McDonald try within 4 minutes of the start. Following a converted penalty, wing Ruan Stander would be next to go over the line for him, and fly half Andre Cooper would oblige by adding the extra 2 points, 17-0 to Paarl. Grey High would only manage to pull 2 tries back though, courtesy of captain CJ Fellerman and fellow flanker Johan van Niekerk, 17-12 to Paarl at the halftime siren. At halftime, the touring side was up by 2 as they took the lead for the first time in the match, 19-17 the score after 35 minutes. A back-and-forth tussle ensued before Kerwin Bosch looked to have won it for Grey with a penalty with only 7 minutes left on the clock. 25-20 to Grey High, and Paarl staring down the barrel of defeat for the first time this season. But as Paarl does when against the ropes, they fought back, applying relentless pressure until the final whistle. The home side scored the equalizer thanks to Gareth Sillier. With Andre Cooper off, it was up to Wyatt Murphy to slot home the points. The scrum half duly obliged and made sure Gim retained their remarkable, unbeaten record of the 2013 season.
Vandag se game teen Grey P was 'n baie game. Hulle was baie fisies op die grond en dit gewees. En ons moes die forwards vir al die forwards moes baie hard gewerk het om die bal te hou. Maar ons kon dit dan gelukkig aan die einde deurgetrek het en baie trots op die manne daar.
Taking on this team wasn't any different to taking any other team on. It's always all the games really play now, quite tough games. So obviously, like I said, it's all what you bring to the game. And I mean, today they were the better team at the day, and I mean we came away with a loss. But obviously, you have to go back to the drawing board and fix everything.
Following that monumental matchup, it was the turn of Wynberg and Queen's College to take to the field, and it was just as exciting. With Wynberg missing 2 of their first-team regulars to Craven Week and Queen's College, it was always going to be a tight affair. In the end, the lads from the Cape southern suburbs would have just a little bit more in the tank and would come out as the 26-20 winners.
I feel the first half we let ourselves down, too many penalties in the first half, and they had a good kicker that was kicking us to the corners, and unfortunately it was a bit tough. The ground was a bit with the mud and stuff, so we didn't adapt to those conditions, and they capitalized on that and it put us under pressure.
I would rate our season a 7 out of 10 so far. We've had a couple of very good wins, but then again we've had a couple of poor losses. We've had to pick ourselves up, and yes, but we're forging ahead. We've got good spirit. It's good.
After all that excitement, it wasn't surprising that the last game of the day was a low-scoring affair, with a lack of an away kit causing much confusion in the match between Sax and Selborne. In the end, Selborne would be the second touring side to defeat a side from the Cape when they won 11-9 against one of the Cape's finest. It was a fantastic day of rugby that concludes tomorrow, so make sure you get out there and support your team.
Expresso Youth Sport, brought to you by Deep Heat, warms pain away.